Hi YouTube, it's Lena, and today I'm here with another anti-haul. For those of you that don't know, this was inspired by a couple of great YouTubers. Kimberly Clark is one of them. I've seen a lot of people do these kind of videos. I did one of these for some of the holiday releases. And, well, makeup companies keep releasing stuff that I think, for me, it does not work. Disclaimer, as always, if you bought this stuff, that's awesome. More power to you. But this is why it does not, these certain things would not work for me and why they may not work for you. This is more a video in case you were on the fence about a couple of items and maybe needed to hear a reason why maybe it wouldn't work. So let's go. First off, I gave Too Faced so much shade last time and I'm gonna give them some more shade this time. Even though, let me say, they make some great stuff. I really love their blushes for one thing, and I just finished a mini of the Sweet Peach Lip Oil and I'm probably gonna buy a full size because that thing was awesome. So I like Too Faced. I don't hate them. They just release some whack stuff sometimes. How old am I? Did I just say whack? Yeah, I did. Anyways, first off, we have the Too Faced Natural Love eyeshadow palette. This is one of those huge palettes that they like to release once or twice a year for $59, and apparently like half the shades are in other palettes. So for that reason alone, I don't need to buy it because despite my occasional shade towards Too Faced, I actually own a lot of their eyeshadows. Maybe that's why I can give them so much shade, because I already own a lot of their stuff. And for as far as I can tell, their eyeshadow formula is pretty spot on, but like right when I saw a shade Honey Pot. I have not only used up a shade of Honey Pot in a project pan before, I am trying to hit pan on another one right now, so I definitely don't need a third. But it's a very neutral collection, which is fine if you're really into neutral eyeshadows, but as you can possibly see right now, I'm wearing green eyeshadows, so neutral it definitely has its place in my collection, but it's not what I go for, so I don't need another neutral palette, plus I own like 70 eyeshadow palettes. So I probably need to do a declutter soon, if I can bear to get rid of any of them. I might not be able to, but who knows. Anyways, the other kind of Too Faced eyeshadow palette that I'm not going to be buying anytime soon is the Peanut Butter and Honey palette. And once again, it's just a super neutral palette with that like one yellow shade. When I do on the rare occasion crave a yellow over the lid shade or in the crease or something, I have the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette that has a bright yellow shade right in it, so don't even need it in case I wanted a yellow. So if you have the Mi Vida Loca palette, you certainly don't need this for that pop of yellow. The other Too Faced item that I have is the Light Prismatic highlighters. Now, don't get me wrong, they look gorgeous. The thing is that I have bought a couple of the NYX Prismatic-y highlighters, so I have some duochrome highlighters, so I definitely don't need that. I have also heard from some people that they are more glitter bombs than true highlights, so that might not really be for me anyway. I have to be careful with my highlight as it is because I'm very oily skinned, and well, what can turn out from a matte look can become pretty darn dewy and glowy in a couple of hours anyway, so other than popping some on my cheekbones, I don't normally highlight too much in my face because I don't need to. So let's get away from Too Faced. Let's go to Benefit. Benefit's released a couple of things recently that I personally don't need. Now first off is the Dandelion Twinkle Powder Highlighter. I guess this is like a shimmery version of their Dandelion Box Blush. I used to have one of the cheek palettes from one of the, not Halloween's, why did I want to say that? One of the holiday releases a couple of years ago that had a bunch of their cheek products in it. And it was fine, but there was only one of them that was kind of unique to my stuff, so I wound up passing it on to a friend of mine. So for that alone, I probably don't need to buy the box blushes. And honestly, if you have Dandelion, you definitely don't need Dandelion Twinkle or whatever exactly it's called, just because swipe a little bit of highlight over it and you got the same thing. So I think that's just weird that they're releasing basically the same thing in a slightly different finish. And the other thing that they're releasing in a slightly different shade is the Benefit Hoola Light Bronzer. I do really like the idea of this. I like that companies are starting to come out with lighter versions of contours, because if you're wicked pale, like even paler than me, a lot of what's on the market does not work. I really wish they would come out with a Hoola Dark as well, though, because there's a lot of people that can't use Hoola because it's too light for them. So I think a Hoola Dark would be an interesting addition, not just interesting, but a very good addition as well. The reason why I am not buying it is because A, I own Hoola and I only have like a little bit of pan on it, so I don't need to replace it anytime soon. And B, the shade of Hoola Light is something that I can actually dupe very easily with my eyeshadows, and eyeshadows make perfectly fine contours. I am wearing an eyeshadow as a contour right now that I think might actually be pretty close to the shade of Hoola Light. So I don't necessarily need it, but I do think that that one in particular is a good idea for a product. But like I said, I think they need a Hoola Dark version as well. Moving on to something that is sold out, but I have to mention it anyway, because I'm sure even though it's limited edition, totally sold out, never coming back, they're going to be like every other company recently and bring it out for another limited or not even release, because they can make more money that way. It is the Lancome Le Rose Blush Powder. It's that big old rose thing that supposedly has highlight on it. Why would I pay $60 for a rose? I will actually do a link down below from Beauty News, who did a DIY of it, so you could totally make them yourself. I've actually been thinking about making one for myself out of my MAC Vanilla pigment, because I think that would be really pretty. Like, the Lancome Rose is a display piece. Beauty News also did a makeup breakup where they got all the highlighter off of it and weighed how much was actually there, which by the way was about as much as an eyeshadow for a big old rose for $60. So that is just ridiculous. That is the kind of stuff nobody really needs to be buying, unless, you know, they just want a pretty display piece that they're probably not going to get a lot of product out of. Because from some reviews that I've seen, it's been kind of awkward to get the highlight off the powder, get the highlight off the rose. But if you want one, just make yourself one, and it can be a big, beautiful rose of any color you want. It doesn't have to even be that light shade of pink. I'm sorry, that thing's just crazy. I guess this thing is just full of freaking highlights, because the next thing I have listed is a highlight too. This might be sold out as well, I don't know. It's the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Pressed Prismatic Highlight in Amethyst. Now, I will say this thing is gorgeous, and I know that the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfectors are a really good formula that almost everybody loves, so that's not why I'm saying anything about it. But there is a NYX highlight that I will leave the name of it right here that may not be a true dupe of it, but once you pop it on the skin, I can't imagine it works that much differently. This one I actually have, I just can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I have a couple of these NYX highlighters, like I mentioned. They're great. They give you that beautiful kind of duochrome look. And I love that we're coming out with different shades of highlighters right now, like non-traditional shades of highlights. Like, I like a purple duochrome highlight all over my face. That's gorgeous. That's not what I have a problem with. I just think that this one in particular, especially since it's limited edition, is fairly easily dupable, plus both the Anastasia Moonchild palette, or Anastasia, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. They have a purpley highlight in there if you can get your hands on the Kat Von D, what is that thing called? I want to say Anarchist, and I know that's not right. Alchemist, the Alchemist highlight, which I decided not to get because the pans were on the small side for highlighter, for basically highlighters, so I passed on that. But you know, I can't hate anybody that gets that because it was really stinking pretty, and I definitely thought about it. But like that one I think has a slightly purpley highlight. It's not that hard to get a purpley duochrome highlight is more of what I'm saying. So if you missed out on the Becca, or if it's still available, don't waste your money on the Becca, go get the next one instead. And finally, this is something that I was doing some research on just to see, okay, what's some new releases that are coming out? And this thing popped up, and it's no. They're these Marc Jacobs Spring 2017 Eye and Lip Sets. So first we have the eye set, and then we have the lip set. don't think there's anything particularly new in these sets, but I am personally a sucker for a set of little minis because I like to try things out a lot, and I can go through a mini a lot faster than I can go through a full size of something. The thing is, the bags that these come in are butt fugly. I'm all about, you know, doing bright colors and interesting patterns and whatnot, but this looks like it was something that a child drew and you hung on the refrigerator, and I mean that in a bad way. Like, your child is not a good artist, but you're only hanging it on the fridge because it's your child and you love them. That sounds so mean and kind of cringeworthy, but that's what they look like to me. It looks like if I drew something and hung it up on the fridge, and I can't draw. My hands shake too much for me to draw. Oh my goodness, those bags are so ugly. So I will not be getting them, and I guess more power to you if you really want them, but don't get them for the bag, at least, because the bag is not cute, at least not to me. So that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I do really appreciate it, and hopefully I will see you later. Bye!